All right, I made a special trip out to the studio just to record a quick video on the reMarkable Paper Pro Move. And I've only spent a few hours with this device, so this is definitely a first impressions video, but man, this is a really interesting tablet. So first of all, I mean, just look at the size of this. It's very one-hand friendly, made for that. Also, a side note, I love the software feature where when you remove the stylus, it turns on your device. Really handy, except for sometimes I notice when it's in my pocket, the stylus will get bumped off of it or something, and then it will turn itself on in my pocket. A little annoying, but at least these things don't have crazy battery drain or anything like that. Although I'm having a hard time believing the 2-week battery life that they're quoting for this device, just because when I got it, it was about 77% charged, and I've only actually used it for maybe an hour or two straight, and it's at 52%. So I don't know, we'll have to keep an eye on that, but obviously that's depending on if you're using the front line or not, and I haven't been, so that's interesting here. But yeah, this device has a front light. This device has a not WACOM standard stylus. This is reMarkable's own standard, and this is their regular marker. I am going to do a comparison video on the marker versus the marker plus, because I have both of them. But yeah, I'm just so intrigued by this thing. I know some people are going to want to know what documents and books look like on it. So this is a PDF file that I've had on every single one of my reMarkables and basically every e-ink tablet I get, which is just a giant PDF copy of the Bible. It's a great test because of how huge it is, and I always like having one on my e-ink devices. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I've adjusted the view to fit to width, so that way it always fits in whatever width I give it. You can also fit it to height, which will actually crop it a little bit more, and in my opinion, crops it too much. So just whatever method you want to use there, or you can fit the custom view and adjust the margins yourself, however you want to do that. But yeah, I think this actually looks really nice, and I would love to read, I mean, basically a full pocket Bible like this. That looks great to me. However, obviously this particular document has pretty large text already. So the more small text you have on it, the harder it's gonna be to see it. Now, you can definitely zoom in with this device, no problem. I mean, you can at least zoom in 5 times. So can you get anywhere you need to go with this? Probably, but that's basically the method there. I mean, you can do it, it's feasible, but is it gonna look great for every document? Obviously not. Now, if you're wondering what the aspect ratio of the screen is, it's actually a perfect 9:16 aspect ratio. So YouTube Shorts would look great on here. You can never view it on this screen, but they would fit it perfectly. It's actually more perfect for that vertical format than even the smartphone screen, because almost none of them are a perfect 9:16 aspect ratio. So yeah, all the same reMarkable features apply here, the same limitations apply here, which means, yeah, it's not built on Android, so you can't sideload Android apps at all. And for some of you, you're not gonna care because that's not what you use e-ink devices for, and that's who reMarkable is marketing towards. But if you're anyone who cares about getting the Kindle app on your reMarkable or getting any kind of sideloaded Android app on here, then this is not the device for you. Just stop watching now. It's not gonna make sense in your workflow. It might look awesome, and it kind of is awesome, but it's probably not gonna work for you if you need those things. If those things are kind of pluses, but you're not really sure if you really need them, well, maybe stick around to find out more about this device, because it now does integrate with Google Drive, Dropbox, and OneDrive. And so you can sync there too, not just with reMarkable's cloud service. You can do shapes now, which they never used to let you do, or just perfect lines. All that kind of stuff does really allow you to be a lot more creative with this device, but it's never gonna be a art focused device. This is very much a note-taking tablet. And if you're trying to use it as an artist, I think you're gonna be disappointed and struggling to get enough out of the features. I mean, look at these pen tools. I mean, it does have pretty good pencil tools, I will say, probably some of the best pencil tools out of any e-ink tablet. But there's a shader tool which does let you get some color in there, but it always gonna take a second to refresh into the proper color. And the paintbrush, it just, something about it, I don't think this is gonna be a very artsy tool. I mean, if that's more of a side hobby, it might work, but I don't know. Let me know if you're an artist and if you use the reMarkable Paper Pro and you think you can use this device for art as well, then correct me if I'm wrong. But if I was an artist, I'd want to be able to see every color as they're supposed to be when I'm putting them in, which means not an e-ink tablet. Probably a regular LCD or OLED tablet makes the most sense. First impressions are actually way more positive than with the reMarkable Paper Pro. I thought that one was such a kind of meh upgrade. I mean, sure, it was a bigger tablet than the reMarkable 2, and it had some nice upgrades over it, but it was barely a faster processor. It was a lot more storage though, and the color e-ink just did not feel like an all-around upgrade. Even here you can see that the black e-ink looks much more black than right here. This is supposed to be black. This is as black as it gets, and it is just a very dark blue. Now, I think this looks better than the reMarkable Paper Pro actually. And some people have done side-by-side comparisons. I would love to if my reMarkable Paper Pro wasn't shattered. If you want to know what happened to it, check the link in the description below. If I had it side by side, I believe I would make the same assessment as well, that this looks even better than the reMarkable Paper Pro screen. So they had a little more time to tweak it. I think it's a little bit better looking. Perfect? Definitely not. And it still has all that flashiness like you were seeing just a second ago. Look at the flashing of that color coming in and out. And that's gonna bother some people. And then the whole stylus technology debate is still happening with this device. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, a lot of people like e-ink tablets that use the WACOM standard, like the older reMarkable 2 actually still uses. But with the reMarkable Paper Pro and with the reMarkable Paper Pro Move, which is such a mouthful, they need to rename that. Those tablets opted for reMarkable's own stylus technology that is based on the USI standard, which is a fancy way of saying it's a universal standard that uses the touch layer to digitize the stylus versus a separate magnetic layer that the WACOM EMR uses. Now, because of that, reMarkable is able to get their latency even quicker on their newer devices than their older ones, which you probably can't see very easily in 30 frames per second. But something you can see is look at how much wavier the lines are on the Paper Pro Move versus the reMarkable 2. And that's a problem that's still persisting to this day. And I don't think it will ever change because this stylus technology has that flaw versus WACOM EMR. And it's less universal, so I can't take this stylus and use it over here and vice versa. It's pretty much locked into reMarkable's little ecosystem there. And you have to charge the stylus versus the reMarkable 2, which this is battery free. If I take another WACOM enabled device, I can take their stylus and use it on the reMarkable, no problem. But this one cannot compete there. And as you can see, the Gallery 3 screen also has the downside of not looking as white as black and white e-ink does. Now, it can look a little whiter if you turn on the front light and it puts a bit of a lighter white light behind it, but you probably can't even see it with a big overhead light here. But I don't think it really needs to be that bright. Even this tablet does have a front light, and at its brightest setting, you can kind of see it in this lighting, probably more so than the reMarkable, but it's still not crazy bright and doesn't need to be, as long as it lights up the screen for you to see it in a dark room. That's really the key point there. You can also probably see from this side perspective that it's thicker than the reMarkable 2, and what you probably can't see is that it is thicker as well than this iFlytek tablet. So this tablet here is an 8.2 inch tablet versus reMarkable's, which is a 7.3 inch tablet. So almost a full inch more space on the iFlytek here. But yeah, so those problems still exist. They have not been solved in this version, but the main issue with it is sometimes the handwriting does not look as good because of that wobbly effect. The sound that they have on this device is incredible. It sounds so much like pencil and paper. It's also much louder than the reMarkable 2. So if you don't like loud writing sounds, this might actually bother you. I know some people are bothered by it. But as you can see, even with the stylus technology being supposedly inferior, I do think that they have gotten the handwriting dialed in very, very well so that you're not gonna notice it when taking notes. And that faster latency might actually make this one feel better. Which is again why I say this is a notebook, not a drawing tablet, especially with the size and aspect ratio and everything that they did with this device. They are marketing it as a notebook to capture ideas and thoughts and to view what was on your big one on the go. That's kind of the idea here. It is not gonna work for drawing because when you try to draw circular objects or things like that, you're just gonna see more of the hiccuping of the technology and the waviness of the lines, all that kind of stuff when you're not doing typical handwriting shapes and stuff like that. So I would have probably still preferred that they went with the Wacom standard, mostly so you don't have to take from the battery to charge it, but it's not a big deal. And now they bake the pen into the cost of the device itself. So this is included with it. And if you want to spend an additional $50, then you can get the Marker Plus. Personally, that shouldn't stop you from buying this device. Now, is there things to stop you from buying this device? Absolutely. There is all the same reMarkable problems that I have shared in many of my other videos, which is that they're very closed down. Their idea of distraction free can sometimes be incredibly limiting for what you want to do on your device. But if you fit the use case of reMarkable, I'm telling you, no device feels more fluid, feels better made, and works for that use case more than a reMarkable device. If you're this audience, then they're gonna feel amazing. They're gonna hurt your wallet a little bit too, because these are not cheap devices. But once you start writing with it, you're gonna be like, I don't care how much I paid for this thing. This is incredible. And that's how they get you. But the main thing I wanna test for my full review on this device is how much better is it at being a portable, one-handing kind of device than something like the iFlytek here, or the Supernote Nomad is gonna be a big one I'll test it against, as well as I think these are incredible small tablets too, and I can hold it in one hand. I can fit it in a lot of my pockets and stuff. So it's not a huge difference that way as far as portability, but is this just a nicer aspect ratio for holding and writing? And then when you turn to the side, it actually is the width of this reMarkable 2's screen itself. If you look at where the screens end and begin, it's actually slightly wider than the reMarkable 2. So if you had something on a reMarkable 2 that you wanted to view on this device, all you gotta do is turn to the side and you're gonna get the exact same view as the reMarkable 2. So I love that idea. I love how well that they have things reflow and scale with this device. I mean, it just feels really natural, because now that I've went into this margin and I go back to portrait, it just scales it down a little bit, and you can easily scale it back up if you want to cut that off. But if you want to see everything, you can see where your margins end and get that, all the text right in there. This could be a neat tablet to just have on a desk if you don't have a lot of space and you just want it behind a keyboard. And while you're typing, and you have a little bit of space left on your desk to just write down a quick idea. It's the snappiest reMarkable I think I've ever used. How quick it can refresh and move the display, and even how it types. Let me show you that actually. So if I create a new notebook and want to name it here, this is a test of, oh, I missed the letters there, but when you actually tap the right letters, it works incredibly fast. It doesn't really have a lot of autocorrect built into it that I can see, so you gotta tap the right letters. But if you do, again, this is the quickest I think I've ever seen a reMarkable display respond to touch, and one of the quickest e-ink tablets in general I've seen for this. So that's an underrated feature that they've been able to get this screen really, really responsive. Clearly they're using better hardware, I think, and better processors and stuff like that than, let's say, the reMarkable 2. And there's a lot less pixels to push around because of how much smaller the screen is. That brings me to another point. This is actually the highest pixel density we've seen on a reMarkable yet. It's 264 pixels per inch versus 226, and I believe 228 on the reMarkable Paper Pro. So this is the most dense one, not by a lot, and I think it mostly is because of the smaller display itself, but still less pixels to move around, higher resolution, faster and more responsive touch display. It's a good device. It's really well made, and they have this plastic back instead of an all aluminum enclosure, which I think is supposed to help if you have to have your device repaired or something. They can access it from the back instead of just the front now. So that's mostly why they're, and I think they probably did it to reduce the weight in your hand as well. Plastic is still, you know, lighter than metal, and it doesn't feel low quality at all, but I do have to point out that a lot of people give Superdome a hard time for having plastic in their main construction, and even the big reMarkable company used a plastic back. So hey, it's not that bad. Some of these companies can do it and make it feel pretty stinking good. But I know these aluminum side rails definitely help add to the high quality feeling of this device as well. And you can get book folios for it too. They have a little loop to go around the stylus to hold that on as well. I didn't get one of those. I just felt like this device is expensive enough. I didn't need to spend any more money, and I will maybe wait for a third-party case to come out, because reMarkable is big enough where third-party companies actually make stuff for them. I'm really curious to know what some companies do with that. Yeah, that's my first impressions. I know this video has been a little rambly and all over the place. Some things about this device specifically, some things about reMarkable in general, but that's kind of what comes to my mind when using this, because I love it. If this was a Superdome device with this exact build and physical hardware, I think I would pay even more money for it. But with reMarkable software, it's not my favorite operating system, and I think that they tend to skimp out on some of the specs and internals as well, but it feels really good. It works really well, and especially if you don't need deep blacks for anything like that, and if you're just using it as a cool notepad, it's fun. It's really nice. I would have even liked it in black and white if they could chop the price down $100 or something like that and release a black and white version. I'd be all over that. This is what they did. reMarkable Paper Pro Move. It's a mouthful, but I understand the vision. I understand the need for a portable device. And they really want this to be something that you would have with a different reMarkable device. But since I don't have another one as my own personal device right now, I'm gonna try using this as my only reMarkable device and see if it's worth it that way for you guys. Or if I'm like, well, if I had another reMarkable, this would probably be cool, but since I don't, I don't want it. So all that and more in my full review, and stay tuned for a video comparing the two different styluses, see if you should save 50 bucks or if it's just worth it to get the upgraded marker. But let me know in the comments down below if you have any more questions. I did see that someone had a question on how getting Kindle books and things like that on here works. The answer is you can't. Kindle does not install on this device, and I don't think Kindle allows you to export their books as EPUBs. You can get EPUB on here as your ebooks, and you can have PDF files, and they look like how I showed before. But that's really it as far as support for ebooks and e-reading. It's not really meant to be an e-reader, and that's going to be surprising to some of you considering the size that it is. But I'm letting you know this is really not meant for an e-reader. This is a digital note-taking device. It's meant to be like your journalist notebook, like your small handheld notebook you take on the go. And that's the point. That's what it's marketed for. And it's not cheap. It's actually costs more than what they're selling their reMarkable 2 on their website right now. And that alone is an interesting thought. Should you get this, or should you get the little one that's newer but smaller? All that and more coming soon to the channel. To find out what you guys should get and hopefully make the decision really easy for you. And please let me know any more comments or questions you have for this device, and I will try to add it to my full review or make separate videos on it. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and definitely subscribe to the channel. We've crossed over 5,000 now, which is insane. I have a giveaway going on actually, where you can get some kind of Graf-X Tech t-shirt. And if you want to enter that, you got to comment on either my 5,000 subscribers special video or the YouTube short that I made about the 5,000 subscribers as well. You can even comment on both and enter twice. So go ahead, comment on those videos, watch those videos, enter the giveaway, see if you can win a t-shirt. It'll be fun for all of us. It is US only right now. Sorry about that, but I just can't afford to pay crazy international shipping prices, and giveaway laws across that is just weird too. So that's how we're running it for this time at least. But hey, if you're interested in this device, I'm gonna have a link for it in my description down below. But I recommend waiting to the full review to really pull the trigger on it, unless you know this is something you've been waiting for and you're just so ready for it. If you're curious about the equipment I use and my setup at all, that's also all gonna be linked in the description down below. As always, guys, have a great rest of your day.